Okay, so first off, you have to have an object or make an object in Blender. It's pretty easy to do. You basically, you know, this is what Blender's for. You have to set up your materials. You add the textures, etc., etc. This is the Textures tab. Click New. Go to the Open. And then browse to find a texture. And you can add more than one material or texture. It's easiest just to think of the materials as a texture. So that's 2. So basically I'm just going through the process of setting everything up to make an object in Blender. If you find a pre-made object, obviously most of this would be done for you already. So now this part here, this is the part where you add the textures to the object. It's also known as UV mapping. Now right there you're switching to edit mode. You can also use the tab key. This is materials. This allows you to see it. See your textures. So right here, this is projecting the view. Now I'm going on the bottom down there and I am changing it to UV mode, the timeline to the UV mode. Now this is what a UV looks like. This is the texture unwrap system in Blender. Every system for 3D modeling is going to be very similar to this. There I'm just there's many ways to unwrap. Basically I'm just going to add a texture to each cube and give you an idea. This is the most complicated part of 3D modeling though. Making the mesh, which is, the geometry is not as difficult as actually mapping the textures to the objects. There are tons of Blender tutorials out there to figure this stuff out. Basically, you look down where the materials are, the assign button, any faces you have selected which turn orange, you hit assign, it'll assign those textures to that material, or it'll assign those faces to that material. Select, we'll select the faces that correspond to that material. And deselect obviously deselects material, the faces that are assigned to that material. And there you have it. Just a very simple model. Obviously you can go far more complex than this. And that's the step we just did. And this section is how to make the second UV map. So right there I'm selecting the UV tab at the top on the little thing up there. It looks like a inverted triangle or an inverted pyramid. Now you hit the plus button in the UV maps and it adds a second UV map. And it'll look the same in the UV mapping area, but right there I just did a smart UV unwrap. Now what that does is it, just exactly what it sounds like. It automates the unwrapping process, and this is the easiest way to make a bake thing. And for the bake, the entire texture has to fit within what's called 0 to 1 1, which is the UV square. Basically, one texture covers the entire object that you're about to bake. Now here I'm saving the other file, making a copy, and opening the copy. Now in the copy of the blend, what you want to do is you want to go in, make sure you're on UV map 001 or whatever you name it. You can rename that if you want. Go in and you remove all the materials. Put it in cycles mode. And make sure that you're in the second UV mode. That has to be highlighted, UV map 001. The UV that fits in the single gray box. Now add a material, make it pure white. Now right there, you're basically dragging a new window and going and instead of the UV map for that one, you want to put that on the nodes. Now this is setting up for the texture bake. I called it LIGHTMAP here. So you're making a new texture. Just go to new, make it set the resolution that you would like to bake it out. Obviously, higher resolution is going to be a higher quality bake map, but it will take longer and it's larger. So there's trade-offs there. But you set the LIGHTMAP to the on the nodes for the diffuse material, and set the margin to 2 pixels, don't forget that. Then you hit bake. There are optimizations for this baking process to make it go faster. You can set it to GPU compute. I would recommend just Googling how to make Blender run faster. And there's your bake. That's an image at the bottom. That's what the bake looks like. The bottom right there. You want to, you save the bake out. Then in the original blend file, not the copy, but the original, you have to go in and assign the new bake texture, which was done in white, in total white. You basically are baking the shadows in. So you go into each material, start with the first one, open the bake as another texture, a second texture. And you have to, down here where it says map, you have to set it to UV map 001. It's the second UV map. Now you have to deselect the color under influence and assign the ambient modifier to it. It helps to rename the texture that is associated with the bake. Now you go in and you do this for every other material. And it's easier here. You don't have to assign a new texture for everyone. You can just click that box, pull up the thing, and select the light map. But you do have to go in and assign the UV map, or the second UV map, and the color and ambient stuff. Now, once you assign every single material that's associated with the bake, every face has to have a section that's baked out. Once you have every material associated with the new bake texture that you did on the other file, you have to export it out. Select the selection only, and make sure you include material textures and triangulate, and then you export out as a DAE. Now if you want a collision mesh, obviously you want to export out the object as an OBJ, but this has been fixed. This was kind of redundant. I'm doing a voiceover on this after the fact. In Janus, this has been fixed. You can add a collision mesh works on a DAE now, so it's redundant. Now here, if you're watching this video, you should know what you're doing here. You're basically creating a firebox room code. Now here I actually opened Janus. It does not display correctly, but it is in fact running, and I do open the room, and there's a link in the description below to the actual room that I created in this video. And yeah, hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, I'm Firefox G on Reddit. You can find me on the subreddit. I'm one of the moderators of r JanusVR, Reddit JanusVR, and yeah, that is all.